Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining me again. I know it's a lot today, and my camera is it's a little crooked, so I'm gonna fix that, or it will drive me crazy. I'm a little OCD with things like that, so that is better. I had to run in. I know if you're just with me a couple minutes ago for my Mindset Monday, I had to run in and get a jacket. It's freezing. I don't know why. It's got to be me. Everything is working. I have heat today, not like the other day. So thank you so much for taking the time to help me with this creative recruiting reboot. I got so many requests from you guys just over December when we did the creative recruiting boot camp in December. It was just such a busy time for so many of you guys. So many of you were just it was Christmas, right? And the holidays, and it was so busy that we were asked so many times to do a reboot on this boot camp that we decided, okay, we'll do it. So here we are bringing it to you live again. And I've got to move my pillow. My dog is just taking up so much space right now. She is not, I'll let you guys say hello. This is my little angel that opens doors and is awful. So sometimes it's just easier to keep her with me. But so yes, here we are again doing the creative recruiting boot camp again, but this time we're just going to do a reboot and make it a little bit faster than the 5 days we did last month. But since so many of you couldn't make it, didn't get to attend the entire reboot, we're doing it again. So again, I hate to be redundant. I just did this an hour ago, but I am going to introduce myself again for those of you who didn't see the Mindset Monday training. My name is Evelyn Knight. I am the founder and CEO of Child Care Business Professionals, which is a program that helps owners and directors learn to have success in the business side of their child care center while doing what's best for the children. The children are at the core of everything. The reason I do what I do, I am on a mission to get to 1,000 childcare centers in order to influence and help make at least 1,000 childcare centers throughout the world better. And I do this because I know that trickles down to the children. And the more successful you are as childcare providers, directors, and owners, the more successful the children will be and the outcomes are going to be. So that is my mission on this planet, is to help more children by helping you. And my company is international at this point, which is kind of awesome and amazing. I never dreamt when I started it that it would be international, but it is now. I'm also the host of the Child Care Business Coach podcast, and I'm a child care center owner myself. And after this video, I've got to go to my center and deal with some stuff. Got some stuff to deal with. So I get it. I'm in the trenches just like you. I do what you guys do on a daily basis. Not every day. I have an amazing team that I've delegated to, so I don't have to get involved very often, just when the big stuff happens. So thank you again for joining. We don't have a lot of time, so I want to just jump right into it. I'm basically condensing everything I did over a 5-day period last month into 2 days right now. So we're meeting right now. So today and tomorrow at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, which is 1 p.m. Eastern Time. And then we will be meeting again this evening at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 8 p.m. Eastern. I know as a childcare owner myself, a former director, it's hard to take 2 hours out, which is why we're splitting the day up the way we are. Everything will be pre-recorded, so don't worry about if you can't make it live for each session. They will be pre-recorded so you can replay. So that is something we want to make sure we provide for you guys. Let us know if you have a concierge or if you do not have a concierge. Your concierge is basically my success team. My company has a team to make sure that child care center owners and directors can be more successful. And so you each should be connected with somebody that can help you to make sure that you are successful. Right? So let me know, and I'm going to switch over so I can see the comments here to say hello as you hop on. I love the interaction. And just let us know if you do need to be connected with somebody, concierge, so you are getting everything that you need. You should have a workbook. If you don't have your workbook yet, make sure that you get with your concierge, whoever it is on my team that's helping you through this. They will get you a workbook. You can let us know in these comments on this feed if you don't have a concierge or you don't have a workbook. we can make sure that we get that to you. If you did last month's training with us, the creative recruiting boot camp, it's the same workbook. I haven't changed it. It's what I use when I'm basically trying to navigate these things. So it's the same exact workbook. But if you weren't able to join us last month, or if you lost your workbook, let us know and we will be sure to get that to you. So I think that's the housekeeping items. If my team wants to put any more in the comments, that is fine. Go right ahead. But I'm going to just dive in and get going on this. So the first thing, I think, when we're looking at hiring and we're really trying to figure out what is going on nowadays in this hiring atmosphere that we're in, the struggles, we first need to come from a place of understanding what is going on, right? We need to come from a place of knowing where is the mindset of the public at large, right? We are in the middle of thinking revolution, and I had the right phrase for it, but now for some reason it's escaping my brain. But the general mindset of the collective public is changing, right? And I don't think that's such a bad thing. At first, I was very apprehensive about it. I was like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? This just sucks. Maybe it's time to retire. And I'll be the first to tell you guys, as I did the research for this, right, whenever my center is struggling with anything, I research the problem in depthly to come up with some kind of solution. Then I test out that solution in my own childcare center, and then I bring it to you. As a childcare business coach, I bring it to you, right? So when I really was thinking about this, I just had to step back, and I honestly actually had to ask myself, do I really want to work in the world and where it's going in this mindset shift? So as we begin this, I'm going to tell you guys, especially for those of us who are a little bit older, in our, I don't even know, over 35-ish, I would say, in our 40s for sure. This concept that I'm about to talk to you guys about can be hard to stomach. It really is not easy for us to stomach at times. So, but it is the reality. And if we don't accept it and embrace it, we need to more than accept it, we need to embrace it. If we don't, we're going to be left behind, right? We're not going to be able to hire. We're not going to be able to retain. So, and retaining is a bigger, much more important part of the puzzle here. So as we go through this week, and I'm sorry, I'm turning my cell phone ringer off. It keeps beeping and I forgot to turn it off. So I want to make sure I respect you guys and have that off. But I really want us to think in terms of meeting people where they are, because if we keep thinking the old way, we're never going to be able to retain our employees, right? So as we go through this week, we will be talking about what is it going to take to not only recruit, but also to retain, which is so much more important than recruiting. The retainment aspect can be so much more important, right? So let me know in the comments, you guys, that you're here. Also, let us know if you have any questions as we go. I am watching the comments through whether you're on YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn. I can see your comments. So just let me know and I will pause to go. So the first thing I want to talk about is, where has the work ethic gone? Right? We know it is so hard right there, right now. And it's important to understand who we're hiring, right? And so I want you to look within your own center. I hear from so many of you every day about work ethic issues. This person is calling in. This person is doing this. I was involved in a conversation earlier today about COVID. And if you guys, my Mindset Monday this morning is all about dealing with COVID right now. So, but it was about work ethic. And somebody said, I actually think teachers are relieved when they have to quarantine, because it's like getting an extra day off. It's almost like they're putting themselves in situations that cause them to quarantine because they want that time off, right? For my generation, I know we are so minded on, we have to show up, we have to be on time, we have to just give our all to our businesses, especially if you're a type A personality like I am, right? And it's very hard for us to understand those type B personalities. Right? It's very hard when um, I teach temperament as well for the classrooms for understanding children, right? And one of the things I teach my staff all the time when they're dealing with the children is you need to know your own temperament and theirs. And this is the same exact thing when it comes to hiring and when it comes to managing your staff. You need to know what your temperament is, right? A lot of people right now are talking about the enneagrams. That's like the in thing right now. But basically, from a psychological perspective, it comes down to temperament, a human temperament, right? And you need to know there's going to be these temperaments that really just get under your skin, right? So, a lot of times, if you're like me, you're in the generation where work ethic was so important, where you show up to work. Like I would show up to work. I showed up to work with IVs coming out of my arm. Okay. At one point when I was an employee, I literally had a little IV bag that I would tape to my arm and went to work that way because um, showing up to work was that important. I was really sick and I wasn't contagious, but I carried a garbage can around because the illness I was going through made me throw up all the time, right? So I literally had an IV in my arm and I took a garbage can with me. My director actually came in to my classroom one time, and this was like 20 years ago, but she said, "Are you sure you don't want to go home?" And my work ethic was like, "No, I don't want to go home. I mean, I'm not contagious. I might feel like crap, but I need to be here. This is my job. And it doesn't matter how I feel. I've got to get through this, right?" So coming from that work ethic to dealing what we're dealing with today is very, very hard. Very hard, right? My director is the same way. She has kidney stones at work and things like that where I've had to force her to leave work. So when you're so imagine that's who my management team was, right? Me, who's shown up to work with an IV and carrying around a garbage can that I can throw up in, and my director, who will pass kidney stones at work and not leave until she absolutely has to. Okay. And I've even had my assistant director, one of my assistant directors went into labor and I couldn't get her to leave until she's like, the contractions are only, they're 15 minutes apart. I'm working. That is the work ethic I'm used to. I show up to work with migraine, show up when I had a boss that I had to be accountable to. It didn't matter. If I was not contagious, I was there. And now we're dealing with this workforce that calls in for period cramps. And that is really hard for us, isn't it? I mean, let me know, you guys, for those of you employers out there, when you get these, I got a runny nose, I got to call in. It is so hard for us, right? It is so incredibly hard for us to deal with. But one of the things I've learned over time is we have to have compassion and we have to understand where are they coming from. Okay. And that's where we need to understand these are the people that we're hiring. So I want to paint a picture for you so you can understand what the collective mindset has become out in the world today. What we're seeing right now is a generation of kids that, which I am the mother of one of them, so I have to take responsibility here. But we are seeing a collective number of children that we put into sports, whether it's football, baseball, soccer, whatever. But they all got trophies. A lot of times we didn't even keep score, right? We didn't want them to feel like they were losing. So we didn't keep score. We didn't teach them how to lose. Everybody was a winner. Everybody was a trophy. We don't keep score because we don't want anyone to feel bad, right? So we basically did this job of trying to help all these kids feel like they were winners, and we never taught them how to lose. We never taught them that in real life, sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. The next thing is now these children are in school. They're K through 12 experience. Well, K through 12 no longer holds kids accountable to the grades that they receive, right? I know, like for my kids, they didn't even get the A through F until they were in the third grade. It was a number system, or they got a pass or fail. That was it. And then the A through F really doesn't mean anything anymore. If your child gets an F on a paper, they can redo it over and over and over again until they get the grade they want. So when we were growing up and in school, we knew we had a test tomorrow. We had to study tonight for that test tomorrow. The kids nowadays don't have to anymore, right? They can retake that test over and over and over until they get the grade they like. So they were never held accountable to actually producing anything. If they don't turn in an assignment in time, it doesn't matter, because as long as they get it in before the grade book closes. Today in my area is the first day of the new semester for my son, who is a senior in high school, right? He could have an assignment due Friday, but he doesn't have to turn it in until the grade book closes 9 weeks from now, right? So what does a due date mean to them? What does a grade mean to them? What does losing mean to them? We have this entire generation, right? And a lot of them are in the workforce. These are the people we are hiring, okay, who were never held accountable to producing or performing, right? They got an F, they could redo it. They were never made to have a due date. If they were absent because they had a runny nose, that was okay. They could be absent for having a runny nose. We overprotected them from getting sick, so they don't even know how to get sick, because we kept things so sanitary, and that we didn't teach them how to basically just push through, right? We handed life to them on the silver platter. We told them they're not accountable for anything. We told them they don't have to hold a due date. We told them they didn't have to perform because they get a limited amount of do-overs. And as we did this, we also told them, you can be anything you want to be. You're going to grow up and the world is your oyster. You can just be everything you want to be. But the most important thing we forgot to tell them is it takes hard work. It takes work ethic, and it doesn't happen overnight, right? It takes a lot of hard work and work ethic. When my son turned 16 and he was looking for a job, he came to me one day and I told him, honey, go work here, here, and here. I'm not working there, Mom. They only pay $10 to $12 an hour. I won't take a job that's under $15 to $20 an hour. It's like, you are 16 years old. And he would tell me, I'm not working somewhere. I have to wear a uniform or I have to clean. Why not? Everybody starts at the bottom. Everybody does. I wanted him to actually do the janitorial in my own center. And he just like, I can't do that, Mom. That is just, I can be so much more. And as a mom, I have to take accountability for that, right? But that is the mindset of the collective whole right now. That is the workforce that we're hiring. These kids, and a lot of them, I mean, right now, if you look at it, we're really, if you're the demographic, I would say, I would stretch as far as like 30 and under. These are the, and sometimes even older. These are the people we're hiring. They don't know how to persevere. They don't know how to tough it out like we did. They don't know how to have deadlines and how to prove themselves. That is huge, you guys. I can't even stress to you, as somebody with a degree in neuropsychology, I cannot express to you how hard it has become for us, because this workforce that we're dealing with does not know how to prove themselves. They don't know how to tough it out, right? Like we did. They're learning, and they're going to soon realize that they have no choice, that they have to, or they're going to have nothing. That being said, this collective whole that we're also dealing with, they also are satisfied with a lot less than we were satisfied with, right? They don't have the materialistic desires that we had. Okay. And so since they're satisfied with less, they don't have to work quite as hard. And honestly, as the mother, and this, I think of my college son at this point, where he went, so I told my college son, if he got a full ride scholarship to college, I would get him a brand new car. And he got his full ride scholarship to college. So we went shopping for his brand new car, and I was a very proud mother. This is my oldest son, he full ride scholarship, just so proud of him. He was going to have his bachelor's degree before he turned 22. I'm a proud mom. I'm like, the world is your oyster, sweetheart. Here is your budget. Pick any car you want. So he starts doing research on cars, and he picks Subaru. He knows he wants to own a Subaru. So I'm like, sweet, great choice. Let's go get you a Subaru Outback, right? Great car. Or you want an SRT WRX? Let's go get you a W. That's what I would have gone, was WRX SRT, right? Nope, mom, not going to do it. Does a little bit more. And he comes back with the Subaru Impreza. And I mean, like, I was like, okay, interesting choice, Subaru Impreza. Not what I would have chosen, not my first or second choice, but okay. So I'm sure you want all the bells and whistles, right? Because I'm a technology junkie. I want all the bells and whistles in my car. Nope. I want one of the lowest models. I don't need navigation. I've got my phone. I don't want leather seats that cost too much money. I don't want heat warmer. I don't want this. I don't want that. Just checking it off. Basically picked one of the cheapest models, other than the fact that the engine was a little bit better, but he researched it to find what was most reliable, what would have issues, and was cheapest on. I'm giving you the opportunity to buy whatever car is on that car lot, and you're going to choose the most economical. And honestly, that's wonderful, right? That is absolutely wonderful that they have this collective, they're satisfied, and they're not really letting ego dictate a lot of their decisions, which is awesome. And that's something I think we do need to honor, and we do need to appreciate in them, because a lot of us are caught up in ego, right? And it doesn't really serve us. So something else to think about when it comes to this collective whole, in that some of it isn't bad. Some of it is actually good. They are demanding more for themselves. They're demanding better for their lives. And as the mother of these kids, I'm sorry, my dog is scratching if you guys can hear it, my other dog. As a mother of these children, I'm happy that they're demanding more for their lives. It does make me happy that they aren't settling, but that being said, I do think everybody needs to start at the bottom, right? But we need to change our mindset and understand where these kids are coming from, and not only kids, but I'm talking about some 30-year-olds, right? We also need to become mentors. But before I get to that, I'm looking at my notes and I'm getting ahead of myself. We also have to look at what COVID has done to the world, right? If you guys haven't studied the ACEs study yet, I absolutely recommend get to know the ACEs study. It's adverse childhood effects. And it basically is an entire study on trauma, what trauma does to the brain. And it really goes in depth in helping us as ECE professionals, as people dealing with the workforce. Doesn't matter what you're dealing with, just humans in general. The ACEs study will give you such good understanding of what is happening to the brain during any kind of trauma. And COVID was traumatic for all of us. It is the first time in our lifetime, right, for those of us who are alive, to have a collective worldwide trauma, and the entire world is suffering from it. So trauma affects the brains in many ways, and it really changes the chemistry of the brain, which we're dealing with now. What's happened at this point, though, is we're collectively exhausted. There's so many of us who are just, and almost all of us, right, are collectively exhausted. We've been through a lot, and it's stressful and exhausting. The other thing that COVID has done is it has forced people into situations where we are living with a lot less than we ever had in the past. And we've adapted, right? Families have moved back in together, they've consolidated, they've learned to live with one vehicle. We've almost gone back in time to a certain extent to like the 1960s, where a family could live with one income. And so we're living in this environment now where families we don't have as many people in the workforce as we used to, right? We saw a diminished amount of numbers of people who are entering the workforce. The unemployment rate, believe it or not, is astronomical. The difference, though, is when the government reports the unemployment rate, they're reporting people seeking jobs. The thing is, a lot of people aren't seeking jobs anymore. So that's another huge issue, and another reason that we're really struggling is because people have learned to adapt without, right? We're seeing so many more single family incomes, and a lot of families are consolidating. They're moving in together. They have found ways to make it work. They've also found that they didn't need the money to begin with. And honestly, there's a lot less pressure in living like that, right? So again, that's not such a bad thing, is it? It's not such a bad thing for our world. So again, another thing just for us to think about. The other thing that I want you guys to really consider and look at is how many jobs are in out there right now. You as an employer are literally competing with thousands of other employers that are looking for work. One of the things I really like to do when I'm driving around and just in my community, outside my community, whatever, is look at how many now hiring signs there are, right? And if you notice, when you drive around today, I want you to really pay attention to this. Not only are there a ton of now hiring signs, but they're big. They're flags. They are taking sandwich boards. You know, they're taking those like waving guys, and this is now hiring. Everybody is desperate to hire. Everybody is desperate to hire right now. And it is a really tough environment that we're in right now when it comes to hiring. So when we are competing with everyone else, it's not just us, it makes it really hard. One of the things I want you guys to also think about is as ECE providers, we always blame it on our industry. We always talk about like, well, we don't pay enough. It's a hard job. People don't see us as professionals. We place so much blame on ECE as a whole that we blind ourselves to the fact that this is not an early childhood education problem. This is not a child care center hiring problem. This is a universal issue for any employer who is trying to hire, right? So we need to get out of that mind frame and we need to stop seeing each other as competition, and we need to start seeing other employers as competition, because we can actually really get together with other owners and directors in childcare centers and start collaborating to fix the problem. Collaboration is so much. I am so sorry, you guys. I lost connection. So hopefully I didn't lose too many of you guys and that isn't too big of a gap. Um, Hopefully you guys can, I'm just checking my phone. I'm looking to make sure you guys can see me on my phone. Okay, let me see. my team is texting me too. So I'm making sure you guys can hear me. Oh, you can hear me. Okay, thanks, Pam. Okay, sorry you guys so much. Now I totally lost my train of thought of where I was at. So I'm just going to, I don't know what happened. My screen on my end just blacked out completely. And I was just like, oh my gosh, what happened? I didn't know if you guys could see me, if you guys could hear me. And it even got my Mira here freaked out a little bit. But so basically I want you guys, I'm going to get back to the job openings. I want you guys to look around and think about how many jobs are out there. And I want you to understand and realize that they are all our competition. All of those jobs out there are our competition now, right? So I'm going to talk to you guys this afternoon about what we can do about that. How can we overcome that issue when it comes to all the competition we're facing? Starbucks is the one that always jumps into my mind because Starbucks is known to be an excellent employer, right? Everybody knows they pay well, they have great benefits, yet they're struggling to hire. So I really want you to change your mindset. It is not early childhood education that is making this a tough environment to hire in. It is not the wages we pay that is making it a tough environment to hire in. Yes, that contributes. I'm not going to say it doesn't because it absolutely does. People have to feed their families, right? But it is not the main reason. It's not even probably in the top 5 reasons, right? A lot of the reason that we're having a hard time hiring is because of the perception that we have put in our own mind. We are convincing ourselves that we don't have enough to offer. We are convincing ourselves that we cannot pay enough. So when we bring jobs to people, we have those doubts in our own minds. We are entering the world and we're putting a face out to the world with doubt, right? We are doubting ourselves. We are doubting what we have to offer. And that is what's really tripping us up in early childhood education. So I really want you to change your mindset on that and understand what it is that we really do. I don't care if we're competing with people who pay more. People are going to take jobs. And I'll tell you from a business and psychological standpoint, people will take a job that fulfills their life, that makes them feel like they are making an impact in the world and makes their life feel more full. Even if they're taking a $5 an hour pay cut, they will do the job for less money if it gives them a better life satisfaction, right? Because our peace of mind, when push comes to shove, is more important than money. It really, truly is. If that wasn't true, there would be no such thing as a stay-at-home mom, right? Everybody would be a doctor. But we really do want we really want to have a perspective of life satisfaction. And that is something in ECE that we can bring to people. We have a unique opportunity that Starbucks doesn't have, that Walmart doesn't have, that any other Target, any other employer out there does not have. We change lives. We literally we are forming 90% of the human brain, right? We are literally changing lives with the work that we do. But that's not what you're focused on when you're out there trying to recruit and hire people. Instead, you're focused on the fact that you can't compete with the warehouse down the road that pays $20 an hour, right? You're focused on the fact that you may not have health insurance. You're focused on the fact that the perspective of childcare in the United States is one that is we're not professionals. We're not real teachers. When you have that stuck in your mind, whether you know it or not, you are subconsciously bringing that to the table when you're telling people you're hiring. You're subconsciously bringing that to the table during the interview process and while you're trying to sell. That doubt, I guarantee it, is subtly coming through and you don't even know it. So you have got to stop thinking of your center for less than what it is, right? And you have to see your center as the amazing, wonderful place that it is, that is cultivating the entire future of these children, right? And if you don't have a high quality program that isn't focused on that doesn't really focus on that brain development, and you know in your heart that it is just a daycare, that it isn't doing the things I'm saying, then start working on changing it. Start working to be the place that you can be. make it that amazing place that it doesn't matter what you pay, that you're going to have people wanting to volunteer to be there, right? Because of the amazing work that you do. It's something we can all do. And my staff, I tell, we just had a staff meeting last week, and I told them, like, you guys might think that we're having a hard time, but we're not. We're fully staffed, right? I don't have applicants knocking at my door like I used to. I used to get 10 applicants probably a month, but we are fully staffed. I hear of people all the time that are actually closing down classrooms in half their center, and they can't be at capacity because they can't hire. And that is honestly, what are you putting out into the world? What do people think about your center? What do you think about your center? Do you see your center as a place that isn't professional? Do you see your center as a place that isn't worthy of $20, $30 an hour employees? Because if you do, then that is the message you're putting out into the world. And that is why you're not attracting the people you need to attract, right? So you really have to check your own mindset and understand that, yes, you can compete with the Starbucks of the world that pays very, very well. Even McDonald's right now pays very well, right? We can compete, you guys. People would much rather take $5 an hour less to work for us than McDonald's. But it depends on what you're telling them. So let me see some of our comments. Moira says, working in EC is so rewarding. It's not about the amount of money we make, but the children we can change. Absolutely. Moira has her bachelor's in early childhood education. She could probably make a lot more money doing a lot of things. But she chooses to be, she loves the children. I've had conversations with Moira about how important it is and impactful it is to work in the classroom. Moira is also the perfect example of that high quality teacher that you want to attract, right? She has worked at very high quality childcare centers, and she's worked at very poor quality childcare centers. And the poor quality childcare center paid her very, very well, but she didn't stay. It didn't matter how much she made there because the children weren't at the center of their universe. It wasn't bringing the quality that those children deserve. So they could have probably paid her $10 an hour more, and she probably wouldn't want to be there because it wasn't what was best for the children. So just think in those terms. It's kind of an important way to think about your center and the work you do and what you're putting out into the world, because it really, truly makes a difference. And this is a lot of what I'm going to be focusing on through the next 3 sessions, is how to really position yourself to get that message out there, to help people see that what you really do and help to really attract those higher quality people. So let's see, next comment I've got, and I'm sorry, it just tells me Facebook user if you haven't given StreamYard permission, but it says working in EC is so very rewarding. It is not the amount of money that we yes, but about the difference that we make in the future. So absolutely, I could not agree with you more. It is about the difference we make. And when we let the world know that, when we really get that message out into the world, you guys will be amazed at the people you attract, the people who want to come work for you, right? Even if you can't pay as much, they will want to come work for you when you put that into the world. So there is hope. There is absolutely hope. We can hire, we can recruit. And I am going to change your mindset too on hiring. I want us in ECE to stop hiring and start recruiting. So that is also something that we will be working on coming up here in these sessions. Oh, hi, April. Thank you for letting me know your name. I wanted to show you guys that's how it appears to me. So unless you give StreamYard permission, it does not tell me what's going on there. So I also want to let you guys know that is what I do have for you today. But I do want to let you guys know to continue joining us for this boot camp. And I'm sorry, I am once again going to look at my notes because I don't want to get this wrong for you guys. But make sure that you join us this evening. This is part 1. Again, I didn't want to put too much. I know myself as an ECE professional, taking 2 hours in the middle of the day is very, very hard, which is why we're doing an hour now and an hour this evening, right? So part 2 is going to be at 5 p.m. Pacific time, which is 8 p.m. Eastern time. So make sure you join us again this evening for that. And then tomorrow, we're also going to be doing the same 10 a.m. and 5 p.m. to get these 4 sessions in as quickly as we can. The sessions are recorded and will be available for you guys. So let me know or let us know if you need the recordings. We can get different things back to you. If you don't have your workbook, again, ask your concierge. If you don't have a concierge, make sure you connect with somebody from my team who is basically, they're part of my success team. Their job is to make sure that you're successful, that you're getting the tools you need through these workshops that I do, that you are really finding what you need through the time that you're taking. I know how valuable time is. To me, time is more important than money. It is way more valuable. So if you're investing your time in listening to me, I want to make sure that it is well spent. It is the most important commodity out there. So make sure you connect with a concierge who will help you to make sure that you have everything you need. So I hope everybody has a great rest of their morning or afternoon, depending on where you are. That is it for this session. We will see you guys again here again at 5 p.m. Or 8 p.m. Pacific time, where we will do part 2 of the boot camp. And that is when we're really going to focus on how to stand out from the crowd. How are we going to attract people and stand out from the crowd? So I will talk to you guys in a little bit.